Welcome everybody. Today is January 26, 2026. This is the Village Hannah City Council meeting. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. You did right up. Yes, down.
Is there someone behind the window?
I'm sorry?
Is there someone behind that little window?
I don't think so. What do you mean? Minimize that one. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that one.
Gwen, I know you're here for the public hearing. Is everybody else here for the public meeting, Shelley?
Yes, Shelly is on here.
And Delina Welcomer from
Delina.
Raymond James is also on.
I thought you were. I couldn't see your
Yep.
name anymore.
Well, thank you, ladies. So item number 3 this evening will be a public hearing. We did have this public hearing at 5:30. There we had no quorum, so therefore we postpone it until 6 p.m. This public hearing is conduct a public hearing regarding the proposed insurance issuance by the village of not to exceed $600,000 general obligation bond to finance various capital improvements within the village. So the public hearing is called now at 6 p.m. held at the Village, Hannah City, Peoria, Illinois, 313 North First Street, Hannah City, Illinois, regarding to the issue not to exceed $600,000 in aggregate principal amount of the village general obligated bonds. I, Anthony Frixell, President of the Hearing Officer, and present. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The hearing will come to order. Let the record reflect that this is a public hearing being held pursuant to the requirements of Section 10 and 20 of the Bond Issue Notification Act of the State of Illinois. As amended, notice of this hearing was published January 4th, 2026 in the Peoria Journal Star, a newspaper general circulation in the village. This is a hearing regarding the plan to issue not to exceed $600,000 in aggregate principal amount of bonds. The proceeds of the bonds will be used for the purpose of finance various capital improvements within the village, including but not limited to construction of a new public works building and paying certain costs of issuance of the bond. The bond will be issued by the village in accordance with provisions of Section 15 of the Local Government Debt Reform Act of the State of Illinois, as amended, and shall constitute a general obligation of the village, payable from the village general fund, the retailer's occupation tax and service occupation tax, derived from the village business development district number 1, the incremental tax derived from the Hannah City TIF increment financing district, and any and such other funds the village lawfully available and annually appropriate for such purpose, and valorum taxes of the village for which its full faith and credit have been irrevocably pledged, unlimited as to rate or amount. This public hearing is required by Section 10 and 20 of FINA. Now is the time for residents, taxpayers, and other interested persons to express their views for or against the proposed plan of financing, the issuance of the bond, and the purpose of the issuance of the bond. Is there anybody here who'd like to speak? Hearing no comments. Public hearing, as the hearing officer, this concludes the public hearing regarding the plan to issue not to exceed $600,000 in aggregate principal amount of the village general obligation bond, alternate revenue sources. Let the record reflect that the public hearing was concluded at this hour of 6:05 p.m., January 2026. Respectfully submitted. Anthony Furcell, President, Village of Hempstead. This now concludes the public hearing, and we will return to regular village council meeting.
Ladies, while we have you online, educate me on the next steps for this specific document.
This is Shelley Cinto, Bond Counsel. We need to have you fill it out and sign it and email it back to us. And then we're done with the public hearing phase. And then we will work with Gwen and with Delina to prepare the ordinance to be adopted at, I don't have the next meeting date on top of my head.
February 9th.
Yes.
On the 9th, we will have, and just real quick, we don't have to, other than signing, completing it, signing it, and emailing it back to you guys, we don't have to do anything else as far as posting it anywhere or filing it anywhere?
Correct. With respect to the document that you just read, that's absolutely correct.
All right. And then on the 2/9 meeting, we will have an ordinance for what?
It will set the parameters, meaning it'll set the parameters for the bond issuance. Delina, maybe I can explain it, but I don't know if maybe you can explain how this fits with what you do. I mean, I'm happy to do so, but
all I would need is somebody to email me the language you want in the agenda and also whatever document I need to send out.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we will.
Yeah, we shoot to send that to you about a week before, and we're already working with Delina and Gwen to prepare that ordinance. So we're on top of that.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else for us on this topic?
I do not.
No,
Go ahead, Gwen.
Does the board have any questions for either Shelley, who's bond counsel, or Delina, she'll be working with the Rural Water Financing Authority to issue these bonds?
My only question is, do we believe we're still on track for receiving money in I can't remember what we said, late March or April timeframe?
Yeah, we submitted the application, and I don't think there's much else that we have to do, but Delina probably knows more about that.
Yeah, so Brian, the next step, as Shelley mentioned, is the parameters ordinance to bring forth at the next village board meeting on February 9th. The only other document that we expect to see from the Rural Water Financing Authority, Shelley's group, along with myself, had a conversation with their attorney, is we're expecting what's called an assistance agreement from them. And they're going to wait to send that to us until they review the parameters ordinance. So there's not duplicative language in that document, in those two documents.
And what would it be for?
We'd still be tracking a bond pricing in early to mid-March, currently scheduled for March 10th. And then the village would receive funds on March 31st.
And based upon the discussions we've had previously, the rates remain the same or better or worse?
I'd say they've been hovering around the same range. We've had, over the last 3 weeks, a pretty stable market. And so it's quite possible that rates could be a little bit better than what you last saw. What we'll plan on doing is having that analysis refreshed for you in advance of adopting the parameters ordinance, so you have a better feel for what annual debt service might look like in addition to the interest rate.
Yeah, we're working on our budget now, and we have to approve it in April, so the more we know early, the better.
Absolutely.
Does anybody have any questions for them? Okay. Well,
You're all welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
If you guys want to take a nap, this would be the time to do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you
you
for
very
the
much.
offer,
Yes.
but dinner is calling me. Have
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Sorry about that. Public hearings out. Everybody should have a copy of our previous meeting minutes from January 12th. If you haven't already done so, take a look at them. See if there's any corrections, changes, anything that was omitted.
Make a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Pearson, second by Sidak. Any further questions, comments, corrections? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Treasury report.
Nothing too out of the ordinary on the treasurer's report. There was the engineering expense for the site plan for the public works building on there. Other than that, there is something later in the agenda. We're going to be voting on opening a sweep account to hopefully earn a little bit of interest on the extra money that's sitting at Morton Community Bank. It sweeps the money into the money market account at the end of the evening, and then sweeps whatever back to keep our balance at whatever designated balance we tell it to keep it at. And anything that's swept into the money market account gets interest on it. So we're hoping, what was it, $4,000 to $5,000?
Yeah, it's just so the Canton's paying off, because I learned about the sweep accounts there, and we only keep about $400,000 in our operational account, and it earns like 0.3%.
0.03.
0.03%.
Yeah.
And it's going to jump to
1 point something.
And we may actually be able to do better, but we'd have to switch banks, and that creates problems with deposits because they're local and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, the operational money will now be in the sweep account, and it stores the money in a money market where it earns the higher rate, and then when you need it to pay a bill, it pulls it into the checking account where you have the lower rate. And so I think it's another $4 or $5 grand a year, which is, not a ton, but we'll take every buck.
Is there any risk on that?
No, they've said that because I asked what if our checking account gets too low. I said, what about overdraft fees? And I think she says there's no such thing on a sweep account like that, because it'll sweep it at the end of the night before anything is.
Is there a minimum that needs to be in the sweep?
No, it's amazing. It is. There's
Okay.
not. Yeah, no, that's a good question.
Is that for businesses only?
Yeah, it is. I've had several people ask me that question. And depending on, I do know this, if the volume of money goes higher, then the sweep account money might be better, because Canton's looking at like almost 2.7, 2.8% on their sweep. But they've got, we have $2 million of cash. They have $18 million worth of cash. So, but yeah, stole it from them, and we'll apply it here. A little more money.
Anyway, that's all I have.
I make a motion that we approve the treasurer's report and pay all outstanding debts.
Second.
Motion by Sidak, second by Pearson. Any further questions, concerns, comments? Roll call. Weaver,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Sidak,
Yes.
Bolt.
Yes.
Motion carries.
When we get to the sweep account, I do have a question. Do we have to name in the minutes who's going to be able to sign? And
Oh, and we might have to.
so when we make the motion to do the sweep account, we need to name the signatures
It's
just to make
us
sure.
four.
Yeah, it'll be the same.
It's the same, but I think.
But I think they
minutes
want it
do
in the
not reflect
minutes.
Yeah, we have to have it in the minutes for the hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured that out when I was doing all my transfers.
Brandon, do you have other stuff, or are you just doing the RFP in this section?
You said the RFP is in this section.
Okay.
And the water is in one,
Yep.
right?
I just
No,
didn't know
I
if you
don't have
had
anything
anything
else for now. I did have my list of things that are going on but it's all water, so I'll just do it then.
Okay. Before we go into his thing, I just wanted to state for everybody is you guys all remember we did a request for proposal on engineering. Obviously, Farnsworth, who's been with us for a long time. Brandon, you said you yourself have been here, what, 23 years?
Oh, two.
Yeah, which is awesome. I just want to make sure everybody's clear that this isn't because we don't like Brandon or we don't like Farnsworth. I think it's something we may adopt over time, assuming you guys want to, for all of the services that we provide. Maybe every 3 to 5 years we do a competitive bid. We look at where we're at and see if it makes sense to stay or change or whatever. So with that as background,
Thanks, Brian. We decided I could throw this up on the screen, but for simplicity, we'll just flip through some pages. I just wanted to share some pictures and lists. And, I'm proud of what I get to do here, and I hope it comes through. What it is not is slick. Made by marketing people and business development people. This was made
it's all good. It's all good.
I think I will stand and hide behind this thing. I'll be over there. There you go. I want to be brief. I'm an engineer, not a public speaker. I just want to tell a story. Sit up here and tell a story about where we've been, where I'd like to go. And I guess I want to follow up, Brian, on what you just said here. I think you're smart to stop and review. What are we doing? Are we doing it right? Are there better ways to do it? And I applaud that effort and look forward to, I've already taken it as an opportunity to learn and to see how we can, I'm going to use the word right size what we do for you in the future. So with that, I just wanted to flip through. I don't want to sit here and tell you about all the cool things that I've done other places. I'm going to tell you about the cool things we've done here. So the next page there, I just want to real quickly tell you who we are, how I know you, how we know you, what we do, how we do it. And the pictures that you've got there, I'm going to walk you through them a little bit because I just want to tell a story. We're local. The folks in the picture there, those are the people I work with every day. We're in Peoria. We're 20 minutes away. And our CEO sits there too. We are a national firm. We have offices all over, but we're a Central Illinois firm that has offices all over. My CEO is right across the hall from me. She's 20 minutes away, not downstate, not in another state. She's here. And so are we. We started doing this in Central Illinois, and that's what we do. And we know Kansas City, a picture of Mike there, bartending at Heritage Days. I've twice had participated in different events. I had a booth for Kansas City Homes one year, and I might have helped Mike one time bartend a little bit. So this is my community too. I'm proud of this community, and I say it all the time. The water tower, this is what we do. Municipal engineering, we've done it. We'll walk through a lot of our projects that we've done together. There are a lot of good municipal engineers out there. We like to think we're one of them, and I want to show you how I think our depth and our diversity can be of value to you. And then the picture of the rails to trails, Brian, that's not too far from you, is it? That picture of that bridge down in the corner there?
yeah, I was looking at it. I was wondering whether or not it's on the back end of my dad's property.
I think it is. There's two of them, right? Back, it's close. If it's not,
it looks very similar to the one that's in the back of his house. Yeah.
That's the Rails to Trails project.
Is that the old creek bed?
No,
that's I think it's just an old path of some sort, isn't it?
Yeah, it used to be where the cattle went through from the front pasture to the back pasture.
Yeah, and then there's another one just next to it. And anyway, I'm proud of that project, and we'll talk a little bit about it because of how we were able to be responsive and bring those resources to bear. So on the next page, just really quickly, some of you may not know about Farnsworth Group. Again, we started in the 1890s down near Springfield, Nokomis, Illinois, land surveyor. And then over the years here, you can see the evolution of our company. In Farnsworth and Conley in the 50s, that's how long we've been in Metamora. We've been their village engineer since the 50s. And there have been 4 people who have done it. There's a lot of loyalty in our firm. In these communities here. Peoria office started in 92. I've been with us since 97. And we continue to grow. I wanted to talk a little bit about the different services that we provide. And I don't want to go through them in great detail. You can read, there's a list of them there. And it's more than civil engineering. It's more than civil engineering and surveying. We do a lot of different things. And you may wonder, does this matter? Is that the right size? Is this the right thing for us? But I want to walk through some examples. Landscape architecture came into play when we were setting up the park district. We had our folks come and talk with some of the folks about what could be done. We didn't have to go out and find other people. We have landscape architects. I work with them all the time. They're great planners. Structural engineering. Rod, you may remember many moons ago we had to condemn a house, and I grabbed a structural engineer, and he came with me. I didn't have to hire one. I didn't have to go find anybody, and we had to use his talents to be able to justify the structural deterioration of the house. We've done a comp plan here. Years and years ago, we did one of your original comprehensive plans. We didn't do the last couple.
You did or didn't?
Did not. We did years ago. We
Who
did
did
not.
the last ones?
Ryder Larson, was that his name? Yeah, because he was through extension or something like that, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. So we were able to find somebody to come in and do that. But we did the one either before that one. Again, we've got a railroad engineer. I always tease, and I was asking about rails and trails. When I asked Charlie a question, about a rail line, he tells me about the rail line and tells me about the guy who drives the train and his kid and what he did last night, what he ate for dinner. Charlie knows railroads. It comes to bear. It's a guy I can make a phone call to. Architecture with Anna City Homes, we brought the entire team together and did all of those, brought those resources to bear. One of the things that we hopefully can talk about in the future is asset management. Brian, I quote you all the time, try to be proactive, not reactive. And asset management is a way to do that. Now, it's work and there's a fee, but looking at communities and looking at their assets, where you've kind of done it with the roads.
So give us a brief summary of what that means.
Taking a look at pick an asset, your roadways, and being able to understand whether you can use technology, you can do some fancy surveying, you can do it in GIS, or you can do it in a spreadsheet, or you can do it with a map and divide it by 5. To be able to say, here's our assets, and here's the condition, and here's how we can fund those assets so that we're ahead of the curve instead of behind. Clearly with water and sewer, you can do the same sort of thing to understand your system. Where are the priorities? Next year, we've got to fix this pump station or else we're going to be chasing our tail, this sort of stuff. And it can get really detailed. There are computer programs that people write. We've got specific softwares that we can use. Or it can be as simple as, like I said, a map and a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's bread and butter, but there's a whole off-ramp that we can take to do that can be of value, depending on, again, where you want to allocate your resources. And then the last one I just wanted to point out was oil and gas. We've got a crew of folks that do that. And again, what does that matter to us? Eastern Panhandle Pipeline. Many times I've given them a shout and said, hey, what do you guys know about this? Help me contact with somebody because you've got it in your community. Hannah City Homes, it certainly came into play. So again, these resources that are behind the scenes are valuable. Not something we want to bring to bear every day, but I don't need to make a phone call outside the firm. You've got those resources. And I listed the folks, me and Joe and Ken. We're all here in Peoria. These are the folks. We're not going far. And then we'll talk a little bit about bringing into bear Kristen and Hayden. They're here in Peoria with me as well. Kristen's got a lot of great experience working with the city of Peoria, construction projects, documentation, and she's a significantly lower building rate. So how do we combine providing you that value with being efficient with costs and trying to minimize costs? And we'll talk a little bit about that. The 2 maps I wanted to show here, because again, I'm proud of it. In Farnsworth, all the states in green are where we're licensed to do work. And all of the little dots in the state of Illinois are where we are or have done municipal engineering. And I think those are impressive. This works better online. But to turn the page, I wanted to show you the communities that I represent. Just one. Just Kansas City, and it's always been that way. Since 2002, when Farnsworth started with you, I was nominated to be your village engineer. I've been here the whole time, and I've never had another community. This is my only community. So the next page, again, I wanted to talk not so much about what we've done in other communities, about what we've done for you. And a little bit of a history here, because as I thought about this and prepared for this, I'm proud, and it really shows how the depth and diversity of our firm has been of value to you. And we'll show some pictures. I'll try to go quick here. But, we started out, when I started, it was lagoon improvements. You had gotten an emergency grant to drain your sewage lagoons and put in some blowers and new equipment there, and so we drained them and dug them out. I was working with state funding agency. You got an emergency permit to do that and some CDEP grant money. we abandoned wells out at the naval house or the base. Yeah, when I started, you had these because you used to, of course, be in the water treatment business, and we were working with the EPA to get out of trouble and get those things. Of course, local drainage projects with the streets, lighting in parks. I mentioned the formation of the park district. We spent a lot of time in the early 2000s with the EPA because there were pump station overflows, and you got a violation notice, and we worked really hard with them about, they had a particularly ornery inspector that was doing his job, but we did a lot of work with rate studies and showing you can do what you can, but the costs for some of those things were significant. So we spent a lot of time, ended up doing some sewer lining. Again, the Hannah City Homes project, I'm proud of that. We also review your development. The Casey's, I still have the Casey's plans in my office from when they came in here and reviewed those plans. Of course, Dollar General, Coffee Can, working with you guys to review and approve and make sure that the work that's done in your community is up to snuff. Water tower, of course, we're familiar with that. Emergency EPA permits. I'll talk a little bit about that here in a second, but Jim knows if he's got a need, give me a shout. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through with the EPA when they come, whether it's their annual inspections that aren't so annual anymore, or we'll show here one of those where he needed to get a permit, and we do it. We run out here and take care of Jim. Rails to trails, annual NFT, of course, the sidewalks, IDOT, and then we talk a little bit about system planning. Again, it's the diversity and depth. And the other box, what I wanted to talk a little bit about was these are the people that we are fortunate enough to represent the Village of Hannah City too. When we're working on the phone with the EPA or with IDOT, the DNR with Rails to Trails, DECA, which is now DCEO, the old CDAP grants. I remember with Daryl Mutton, we couldn't win. You weren't poor enough to get any money, but you didn't have money to do things yourself, and you're in this odd middle. And they probably still are. Yeah. And it's frustrating. But working with DECA back then, the HUD program, the Hannah City Homes, my favorite stories there is, to represent them, to a Chicago regional, when we would go up and meet with them, I remember, where's the elevator? They couldn't fathom there's no elevator. Where's your tower for your senior housing? There's no elevators. To be able to say this is not Chicago, this is a rural project, and you got to think differently. And to be able to represent you with Tri-County, or actually that project was done with Northern Illinois Council of Governments, which is like a Tri-County agency, but they came down and you worked with them. Represent, of course, the Peoria County as you've gone from really having them do all of your zoning and plan review and the annexation and all the things there that we've worked with you on, and then utilities, whether it be Illinois American, Pleasant Valley, Ameren, to be able to work with people we know to represent you. And ultimately, and the thing I'm most proud of is the citizens of the Village of Hannah City going out and looking at a drainage project and why does this do this, and trying to find a way to, again, represent the community to find solutions that are cost effective and appropriate, which isn't always easy. So I'm going to repeat myself a little bit, but I wanted to just kind of walk through some of the pictures as I was thinking about what we've done. So there's a picture of those sewage lagoons in 02, drained. That's not mud.
It's sludge.
Sludge, correct. And in 2005, I couldn't resist putting a picture of Phil in here as we were looking at the streets there and then considering the sale of the school, if you will, to the Park District. 05, the naval housing, been able to bring our full service team to bear there. It was an exciting project. It was a rewarding project, but it was not easy. 2006, again, that was sewer upgrade or problem we had, and working with Jim and Al and going out there and fixing it. And here's the one, Brian, that I wish I had on the big screen. So that picture in the middle, what you're doing is looking straight down into the tank, and you can see the reflection of Joe with the camera. So you can see the sky behind him. That's him in the portal with the camera. I think that's a pretty cool picture. Sure. Looking straight down your water tower. Again, I talked about the EPA. One of the things we did back then towards this asset management, Fred and I spent a lot of time. I remember the hearings over at the school with the community, a full house, talking about needing to upgrade your water and sewer rates to pay for some of these things. And so the question is, where are our rates in relation to other communities? And what happens if we raise it to here? And Brian, now you do that so well. But back then, I did that. Fred had reached out to us to do all that rate study stuff. Flipping the page real quick, and we're getting there. I'm not too much longer.
You're fine. Take your time.
Back then, one of the things that came out of it is we need to line your sewers. They're leaky. So we started the program, and we did a lot of lining. That was
They did half the community, I think.
we did quite a bit. Half of the broken ones, I would say.
Okay.
Some of the plastic stuff didn't need it, but
Right.
of the old clay stuff, yeah, we did about half of it, and we learned a lot. Now, I would do it very differently. I would just call here and say, "Go do it." But in 2012, it was new for us here in the community, and it worked out well. And you borrowed no money from the EPA to do that. You paid that off, I believe, right?
We did.
Yeah, literally not. So that was rewarding for me. Again, straight down from there, Ryan, you'll remember, Main Street, trying that drainage there is just, how do we solve this problem without completely tearing up Main Street with our limited MFT funds, and looking at small projects to be able to improve drainage and roadways. As Brian has mentioned, maybe with an eye towards something larger in the future, being able to squirrel money away for something that would be more improvement. 2022, Rails to Trails. I'm particularly proud of that one, and I'll talk a little bit about it, in our ability to have been responsive. I remember sitting right here and all the people on the phone and all the attorneys, and it wasn't a good feeling, and there's no way you guys can get this done. And I remember I went back to the office. I said, that may be the case, but it will not be because of us. And we scrambled, went out there, walked that whole length, taking the pictures. We got the environmental part done that I don't think anybody thought we could do. We scrambled the jets and we got it done.
Yes, you did.
I am disappointed that didn't happen, just like you guys are, but one our fault, 1 year.
I would agree with you. At the end of the day, it wasn't either of us
Nope.
that kept that thing from not happening.
Exactly. And I'm a cyclist, and to this day, I really wish maybe someday we will see that happen. 2023, an example again of the site plan. This is another example, I think, both this one and the one up in the corner, being responsive, being able to jump on something.
Is this the engineering?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that was like I asked you to do it a day later.
Mm-hmm. And we jumped on it, and Jim and I are always just, well, I'm in Peoria, I'll come by. No, I'll be out there, I'll come by. So we're always trying to save each other a trip. And that plan up in the corner was the emergency permit. He says, EPA says I need a drawing for what I constructed. I didn't send you a proposal to send the survey crew out and spend $20,000 doing the design, which it would have been if we had actually designed it. It was, Jim, give me your notes, we'll put something together, we'll get you this permit. And back and forth and got it done. And then the last one there's, I've been proud. I think there was a lot of confusion there with the site plan for the Public Works building and trying to get that thing knocked out. And again, jumping in the car and running over and getting these things done to be responsive and bringing our locality to bear. So I just wanted to walk through some of those projects. Again, I love talking about what I do, and I love talking about what I do here. The last page here is really the meat of what we're going to talk about here. We recognize that this is an opportunity for you to review and optimize how you move forward, and it's a real opportunity for us as well, because we need to improve. We need to right-size our approach. That's a fair question, and I've done a lot of soul searching and thinking about it. Again, I didn't show you what can we do, all the cool projects that we do, because we've done it here for you. I've done it. I've got a big sense of loyalty. This is my only community, and it always has been. I've got a sense of loyalty to my firm and to you and to the work that we've done. So I take this personally. How do we get better? I think some of the factors are important are looking at the evolution of our role. As I went back and looked when we first started, there were a lot of accounts for a lot of things, but we had several accounts for engineering. And when I would send an invoice, we had to split them all up because road had several, water had several, sewer had several, there was general. There were we did a lot more for you. I got a lot of phone calls. I would come out and, like I said, doing rate studies. The addition of a village administrator and the evolution, if you will, certainly with Roger in the streets, you don't need me near as much as you used to. And that's a good thing. Those funds can stay here. I'm here for you, but trying to balance what that role is. I think we've got some work to do to communicate. How do we provide you what you need as cost effectively as we can, knowing that you have other resources now. And so we talked about balancing costs and being proactive and reactive.
And you've done a lot of that already. That's true. I think we've made some of those adjustments already.
We have, but for the right reasons. But is that what you want? And it just kind of has evolved. Are we doing what we need to be doing? I don't know that we've ever sat down and talked about it.
Fair enough.
And so, how do we be more efficient? Provide our professional services targeted, using the right resources. The accountants don't like me. I've never sent invoice to you guys for mileage ever. Just doesn't feel right. I'm supposed to. We have a discounted meeting rate. When I'm here, it's a significant discount for my hourly rate if I was to be doing design. I like that because how do we be efficient with our costs? And that's something that we've just done for as long as I can remember. It's not been the whole time. Fred and I negotiated that a while ago. And we'll continue to do that, as I mentioned in the report or the submittal. And then, there's an institutional knowledge and a responsiveness of local resources and depth and diversity, and that has value. It has value beyond the reach. Rate sheets are a great place to start, but there's a value that's not always told in that story. So I just wanted to, recognize that. And then finally, really where we're at here with improving communication, trying to, these last 2 years have been really difficult for me on a personal level. Of course, with COVID and with the technology, how do we right size our approach to being here, whether it's either on the line or just standing here? I know at times there would be repeated time coming over saying no report and what value am I providing? But I need to ask you, what do you want, and then do that. But I did last time and will continue to do if needed, is provide a report, even if it says no report. Here's where the water is this week, this every 2 weeks, and sometimes MFT, no program in 2026, but it's there. We talk about it. We don't go away for months on end. So using technology and these sorts of things to get done. We've had some staff turnover that I think is done, so begin to focus on my one municipal client. So that's the story I wanted to talk about. And what I had here, there's 2 pictures, and I wish I could show 3. I'm going to tell a sappy story. So I know I've mentioned it with Heritage Senior Homes. That's one of the projects I'm most proud of. For the reasons. Yes, everybody wants a great new sewer, but we took old building stock that was dilapidated and a bit of an eyesore, got a federal grant, worked with a lot of federal people to make something that's good for the community for a lot of reasons. Not only just that's no longer an eyesore and you have a place for seniors to stay, but also moving the houses and living in development. All the right reasons. I was proud of that. And that was full service, something that not everybody can do. The depth and breadth and the responsiveness, I think, came to play. Then again, a picture of the Rails to Trails. I was, for a lot of reasons, I started my career in the environmental stuff. So walking sites, looking for fill pipes and writing a lot of the language and that's something that I've done. And so it was good to get back to do that and bring, again, that experience and talent to bear for you, as hopefully as value. But the final one, I didn't have a picture, would be these. I was just sat and was thinking about, I don't have a picture of your meeting room, but it used to be the other way. It used to sit up here.
Yeah.
I can remember when this furniture was built, but I pay attention to absolutely every word you guys say, and at no time have I ever maybe daydreamed a little bit and looked at these things when there was something going on. But my memories of being in this room, looking at that plaque and these, whether it be, sitting here with Phil or Fred, Pam, Myrna, Judd, Caleb, Chuck, Terry, we talked about Terry, and then even the attorneys, John Potter and Steve Etchison. Steve. Yeah. And I miss Bill. And those memories, working with those folks, those are the things that I'm the proudest of. That's what I want to get better at, and bring, again, the history of what we have done and can do to continue to do those things for the betterment of your community. So, wasn't too bad. It's 25.
No, you're great.
Oh, I did want to finish. Last time I was here, and I didn't come last time on purpose, wanted to give you guys a chance to do what you're doing here. That comment that Jim, that somebody read about Jim, with respect and gratitude, that really resonated with me, because that's certainly Jim. And that's something I would like to emulate. I do not take this for granted. Do not take this community for granted. We got to get better at right sizing it. But I have the utmost respect and utmost gratitude for I'm blessed to be able to come and do this. Like I said, I take it personally. Loyalty is big for me. I'm blessed. Thank you. That's it. Questions?
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you.
It's been, I'll tell you, it's been a rough day. I'm waking up a little bit.
No, that was excellent.
No pictures. No one fell in the poo-poo pond?
They did not. Not in this one. That was one of my other first jobs I did. A young kid, hey, welcome to Farnsworth. We need to do some sampling in a sewage lagoon. I didn't do it at yours. Yours was already drained. So in a boat, you go, rowing around in the lagoons, seeing how deep the sludge is.
Yeah.
Of course, it was a windy day.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
We did have a surveyor years ago who did fall in, and that actually wasn't a good thing. Of course, shots medically, it's not a good thing.
You got to go through the full gamut of.
So, no, I did not fall in. And then the other project I did in another community, I can tell you, it's Lexington. Go to the end of that pipe and sample whatever's coming out.
The new guy.
It wasn't Kool-Aid.
I have one question. You and I have talked about it offline, but I want to ask it here in front. My perception is that there are times where you might feel pressure. Again, this is Brian's perception. That may be not true. To upsell, to push additional services, to and we've talked about specific examples, and that's probably not appropriate to do here. But I guess, can you speak to that a little bit, or do you feel that? I don't sense it as much with you that as I do with Joe, maybe. But yeah, speak to that.
That's fair. And that's when you talk about that asset management. That's what we do. Can be a big thing. And I've been reluctant to say too much about it because I don't want that perception that we are. Another example that I'll throw it out there, maybe it's not even true, is with the Pleasant Valley stuff and working with that pipeline. That's a big deal. You could do a pretty good-sized engineering study, and you probably should, to see if that thing works with a fairly good-sized number on it. But I just didn't feel like there was an appetite for that. I'll answer your questions.
Maybe I should come in here and say, what I really want is I want you to tell me what you think to be true, even if it might cost more. But again, you know me, I don't have a filter. Sometimes I don't know enough about this stuff, and it's not that I distrust you, but there are times where I wonder, is that really worth it? And the best example I have on the top of my mind is when we did the sidewalk down here, and originally it was a $10,000 engineering thing and then we got in the meeting and it was a $20,000, and we ended up doing it without spending any of that money. And so that gives me pause, right? And I'm just being, and I just want to make sure we can work through those types of things.
And Joe and I have talked a lot about that. IDOT complicates things. They've got a set way to do things, and we would always prefer for like the construction administration to be out there and watch these things go in. Most of the time, that's part of it, and it's as much, if not more, than design for the construction administration. Those folks out there watching that for IDOT jobs, it can be significant. And so he and I, how do we right size this thing, whether it be utilizing Caleb's talents or others in the community to be able to, we ultimately are responsible for it and need to sign off on it when there's an IDOT permit involved.
So for me, the answer is, when we have conversations with the board, I don't want to operate on zero risk when it comes to engineering or even legal, right? Because that costs the taxpayer money. Now, I don't want anybody to go to jail, and I don't want it to fall apart, right? But at the end of the day, there's got to be some middle ground between zero risk and maximum risk that makes sense for the project, both financially and risk-wise.
That is a challenge we deal with every day, and because of the breadth of our clients, there are some folks who, like you guys used to be a little bit, go solve it and take care of it, as opposed to maybe how do we find what's the most cost efficient use of your time, because it's not free, it's not cheap, And I get that. And so I agree, those conversations.
Or if you don't do it, here's the downside if something goes sideways, right? And let this group of people that are very capable and very smart to make a decision as to are we willing to accept that risk, or would we rather spend the 10 grand to avoid that risk?
That's true.
To me, that's key when it comes to the vendors that we work with, because one of the things I'm learning when I work with municipalities is my perception is, and I'm not just talking about Hannah City, but it just seems like the lawyers always want you to operate at zero risk. And the engineers always want you to operate at max protection, right? And we can't afford to do that and get the things done that we want to get done. What I need to know is what's the range of the cost versus value, and if I'm doing or we're doing something that is stupid, then tell me that's stupid. People could go to jail. I mean, I don't want to mess that up, right? But I want to become partners with people that can help us balance that stuff. I think we're doing some of that already.
This is a great conversation, and it was funny. I was talking with a colleague about, she says, don't go in there and tell them how you're going to do these things. Go in there and ask them what they want done. That's a good point. Moving forward to be able to understand here, and that's kind of again where this maybe quarterly sitting down with your superintendents and yourself and committees. What are your priorities and what projects are out there, and how can we right size or streamline things? MFT, as you've Joe explained, that's prescribed, and we're not making money on that. So how can we utilize?
Pause there for a second, though. I don't care if you make a little margin on anything. I don't think anybody else here does. We want you to make a little.
I appreciate that. Yeah, don't think that's not. I guess, but there's an example of it's very prescriptive, and there's not it's hard to show what's the value. We got to do the paperwork, we seal it, and they give us the thing for it. I'm going to keep going back to the potential pipeline out there. That's you gotta, hey, is this practical? That's a tough question to answer. That's a significant study that has a cost. And so how do I provide for you quick advice? I can't. You gotta
say that.
Yeah. And
I think you did.
Without providing a proposal for a big number. So how can we streamline that and have that conversation? Yeah. So those are the challenges in front of me, I think, is to find exactly that. How do we right size, and maybe it's not necessarily the rate and the budget, but right size, like you said, the risk and the budget. Are we right size for what your risk needs are? When we can, some things like the EPA, it's very prescriptive, and they're gonna need my seal. So we've got to do some of those things. But that's a great conversation, and I don't think there's a simple answer. I think it depends on the project.
Absolutely.
And it depends on, I guess, your vision and your strategic goals. Again, do you want to, we can do televising of your entire sewer system. We've got the computer program, and you put it in there, and it finds the leaks, and you run the computer, and it tells you, here are the sewers and manholes that really should go first. There's a cost to that. Can you survive without that? Probably, but that's your decision, not mine.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, is having a discussion and a debate about levels of risk versus levels of cost, and letting this group of people that represent their constituents make decisions as to when do they want to take a little more risk, and when are they willing to spend a little bit more money.
That's great advice. I appreciate it.
I deal with it all the time too. I mean, we all do.
No, it's funny. I tell the young people all the time, you go to school and I learn how to do pump curves and roadway design and all these exciting things. But to be able to do exactly this, stand in front of a rural board of volunteers who have to make decisions on concepts that they don't deal with every day, to be able to explain just what you're saying, the pluses and minuses, advantages, disadvantages, risks and rewards for things that are not easy and, frankly, a lot of times pretty boring. That's the challenge, and they don't teach you that in school. And I try to get better at that every day. Those are great points. Any other questions? I'll say it again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is the attorney's report. Shauna? follow that.
I cannot.
I'm gonna need a picture of my suit.
Very good talk, but we are still working on Title V. Hope to have a copy to Brian so he can review it and see if there's any questions that may arise, and then hoping to get a draft to the board so it can be at the February 9th meeting.
So will we be ready in a place where we can vote on it on the 9th or no?
Yeah, if you think that they've had enough time to look at it.
Yeah, I'll leave it up to them. I mean, if we have it to them the Thursday before, I think they trust us and the work that we're doing it gives them time to look at it. And if they have questions, they can ask them. And if they want to table it, they can table it. But I'd like to push for a vote on the 9th.
On the 9th. Okay. Okay. Other than that, I got the revised outline for Title II. So
Thank you.
Once Title V is approved, then we'll be working on that. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have any questions?
Nick Vision. Thank you, Shauna.
No, thank you.
Brian? Nothing to read. Everything I'm going to cover is already in the agenda.
Wow.
Yeah.
Note this day in history.
Shut up.
Want to try to give you 20 minutes.
Committee reports, Mr. Pearson.
Yes, sir. I have a couple different things on there. The first one is what we talked about already, the sweep account at Morton Community Bank. We need to vote on
Opening it and who can sign.
Yeah. So I would make a motion to open the sweep account
Yeah, for operational expenses.
with the ability to sign being mayor, city
You got
administrator,
to name Mayor Frixell.
administrator Baylor, treasurer,
Slaughter.
yeah, and trustee Pearson.
And our normal process is still under, you guys sign first, we only sign in emergencies, and she and I can't sign the same check unless we get approval from you.
Do I need to write that in?
Yep. Any questions on
Okay,
what the
so
account
who
does
gets-
or what it's for?
Who's the main signer?
So the main signers are the mayor and the finance chair, Brian. Cassandra and I can sign in emergencies, but she and I can't not sign the same check unless we have approval.
Unless it's approved from one of us.
And we keep emails with approval to make sure that we've got documentation. We need a second.
Anytime we can get some more interest on some money we've got sitting.
That's what I thought.
So motion by Pearson. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Holt. Any comments, questions? We want to vote on that. So, Pearson,
Yes.
Sidak,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And the second item is the water tower loan program. We've got a little bit of an update on that Brandon will talk more about.
He's talking again?
Huh?
Oh, man.
And I did include the project.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I kind of repeated that a little bit. I do want to try to, even if I don't have much to say or repeat myself, at least document. So tonight on the agenda is the loan authorization ordinance, which is another required step in this process. Essentially saying that you're willing to borrow, and I think we revised it to be $3.5 million through the program, and you'll pay it back. And and then it needs to be published and go out to public comment, so people have an opportunity, just like you went through today, with to comment or object. There's a method.
Do you guys handle that? Do we handle that? Do we need Shauna to handle
Up
it?
to you how you'd like to do it. We handle it in a lot of our communities, but if you prefer,
I guess I shouldn't say. The board should say.
And it's as simple as making sure we get the right thing and getting it over to Glassford, because this is a minor, very minor thing for us to do.
Yeah.
And I have a team of folks who do this who know how to do it. They can answer the questions I probably can't answer tonight. But they essentially, I was told if they pass this tonight, get it to me, and we'll coordinate with them and make it happen. So going through this, and then the EPA is working on the environmental clearance right now, so they're doing their part, we're doing ours. We paused a little bit on the rate ordinance, which is not what's in front of you here. I had intended to, but I think it's not something that needs to be done right away. We have to do it before the end of March. I think I would like to pause and push it to a later consideration, because I think we have some work to do. The draft, those were some big numbers, and even though you're not obligating yourself to do it, but the numbers, you divide the 3.5, do the math and show what your rates need to be in order to pay that back.
You revise that though based on the half a million down.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I didn't bring it to you, because
And the 10,000 a month work.
and that's hard to show, because here we go again. What do you need a loan for?
Shut up and give me the money.
I know it. and so I want to be careful that we don't. You already have a surplus. Well,
we don't have $4 million.
No, but cutting the $500,000 off, and if you've got 10, it essentially cut the repayment in half, which is great. That's a good thing, right?
And then if they give us forgiveness,
exactly.
What I'm hoping is the 10,000 will cover it.
Right.
So we don't have to increase anything.
And so that's what we were revising the math and trying to find that to show that. So you're asking for a loan that you don't even need to raise your rates to repay.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
we're one of the few financially well-managed communities in Illinois.
We're going to raise it about $5.
And that's why I paused, is because that's not what we showed.
So
we will.
When you say February, you want it to be the second meeting in February?
First.
You want it to be the first, the 9th?
The 9th, correct.
Okay.
And so we're revising that math, and that's why she asked for the revised, I think, 2025 audit, just to.
Yeah, we sent that today.
Exactly. So that's why we're just tweaking that, because I don't know if you stared too hard at that rate increase. Those were, again, we graduated, but it was 5 years out. Those were some steep numbers.
Yeah, did you answer the question? Can we state in the ordinance that we don't have to do this? Only as a last resort or whatever?
I don't think you can do that, but what we did do is push it out to the end of the summer, so that if you don't go forward, then you can rescind it. You'll know if you want to move forward.
Okay.
So anyway, that's the process here right now, and I don't need to go on another off ramp. I'm good at it. The ordinance that you have in front of you is your willingness to do this, so that you can essentially submit this and show the EPA that you're willing to do it. It does not obligate you to borrow this. The intent is to get the complete package in there at the end of March. They'll chew on it and hopefully send you an offer. We're optimistic it'll be this year, but that's up to them.
What's the normal time frame that we would have?
It would be this summer if they make one.
Okay, one last question.
So 6 months from now?
Yeah.
So around June, July timeframe.
Middle of summer if they make it. If not, it's kicked to the next cycle. But yeah.
One last question. This ordinance and the water and the rate ordinance, and then we're done submitting paperwork as far as you know?
Well, there's the application, which is the copies of your ordinances or your audits and everything else. The environmental that they're working on, we'll review that. No,
We've already given you all the information.
You have, yeah. I've got what I need from you right now.
So I'm talking about board action. Two more. Okay.
To my knowledge, it's these two, rate ordinance, and I do need a signature for the pre-application, but it's not a board action. It's just a signature. So there's more paperwork. I don't have it now. So it has to be in by the end of March. So this ordinance is really the next big step. Get it published, wait 30 days, see if you objection, have a hearing if you do, and get it submitted as part of your package. Any other questions on the ordinance? And again, it's for $3.5 million. The intent would be not to need to borrow that much.
I'll make a motion to approve the Public Water Supply Loan Program Ordinance authorizing loan agreement with the Village of Manistee.
And be ordinance 26-01-02.
Second.
I have a motion by Pearson, second by Weaver. Any comments, corrections? We'll roll call it. Sidak?
Yes.
Vogt,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Brandon, once everything's signed and they take care of everything, do you need the original back? Okay. So original goes to Brandon. Hard copy to Cassandra and e-copies to me. Shauna, do you want a copy? You're muted.
Yes, she will get a copy.
Shauna, you're muted.
I'm sorry about that. Yes, an e-copy's fine.
So Brian, Brandon, and Shanna all get e-copies. Do you want to?
I just have the hard
The
copy.
hard
for the
copy.
file.
Okay.
Okay, Brandon gets a hard copy and she gets a hard copy.
Original back to
the original.
Brandon. Hard copy
Okay.
to Cassandra. E-copies to me, Brandon, and Shanna. You can have one if you want.
No, thank you.
I consider the one in the file yours or the board. So
We are going to talk about that later.
I'm still up to clean house and be not.
Yeah, go.
Well, I just.
This says A's or nays.
Here, I'll.
I mean, do we need to write down who said yes?
No.
Well, I think you should put the check.
It's
mark.
just numbers.
I think we're learning our lesson though. Tony should sign everything, not me, because they come back and want his signature sometimes, and we ought to fill everything out to the nth degree when it comes to this kind of stuff.
So I may be bleeding into the other reports, but since there's nothing to say, I won't talk again. The MFT, as we mentioned, no program in 2026, and then the other projects or outstanding issues. Again, if applicable, moving forward here, first quarter, let's call it, to begin to think of having some sort of formal, very simple, but here's where we're at with these issues looking forward. That would be on my radar.
What do you say? You're talking about like some sort of plan moving forward on? Yeah.
Jim, what's on your radar? You know, hey boy, I got a new manhole here, that kind of stuff.
I mean, in simplest form, and the board can holler at me if they disagree, but I think our main goal is we want to get the basic infrastructure done in the next 3 to 4 years. Sewers lined, water tower up, any water lines that need to be fixed, lagoon good, roads running, and have an ongoing process of paying for that forever. And then we can move to whatever's next.
Yep.
Is that fair? It's not sexy, but it's.
You forgot about the new building.
Oh well, that was kind of forced on us, but yeah, you do that.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Brandon. Anything else under finance?
I need a minute.
Amendment.
Yeah.
Nothing from me.
So.
We can do it after the meeting.
Okay. Is he staying around then? Because I can't give him the hard copy. I don't go make
we
a copy
can
of
mail
it.
it to him or drop it off or whatever.
My favorite place to get coffee. Actually,
I really like. There's just
Like
too
she's
much
awesome.
there. And there's a
Don't-
part in there that says it was published, so are we publishing it in the Gazette? It's on there.
They already did that.
I'll give you the American.
Yeah, but it needs to be on the document.
Yeah, but I think we fill it in after we.
Okay.
It's a living document.
Well, because I have to attest to it now. I haven't.
I wouldn't attest to it yet.
I've already.
Oh, okay.
I thought you said you were publishing it in the Gazette.
We are.
Okay.
Yeah, I do, but it has the
And
dates.
then I don't know.
It has the dates, right?
Wow, after the meeting,
Yeah.
everybody.
Okay. So you ready then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So planning and zoning, Mr. Holt.
No, nothing at the moment.
Sanitary sewer, Chris isn't here. Brian, did you have anything?
Nope.
Water
The water rates went into
effect.
Yep.
That was a 2.7. 2.7.
Effective January usage, February bills.
So it's been put in, but the bills haven't gone out yet.
Right.
Any community response from them?
On the Facebook page, we got a couple of sad faces or whatever, and then we did get a couple people call in with questions. And once we explained, the amount of translated 2.7 into $1, It was like $1 and whatever they were. The people were fine.
So just say it's going to be $30. Village ground, Mr. Weaver.
Nothing to report.
Streets and alleys, Mr. Weaver.
Nothing to report.
CEDC, Mr. Sidak.
It is that time of year again for us to give the TIF money back to our taxing bodies. In front of you, you have an ordinance declaring, that's a really long title, essentially giving them back their 80%. The number that we're giving away is in bold on page 2. It's $192,271.28.
But of that, we're giving back $21,000.
We are giving back $21,000 to do with whatever.
Of that?
Yeah.
Of the $192,000?
Yeah, we're one of the taxing bodies that gets money
so
back.
we get 20.
Yeah. So when we build the budget, we actually build it with an estimate of what we think we'll get back at the end of the year, so we have a net number.
That's awesome.
So it's just our routine dispersing the money back. So I will go ahead and
So is it the 192
yes.
that we're dispersing?
Okay, I gotta take a deep breath for this one. Make a motion that we adopt an ordinance declaring surplus revenue in the Hannah City TIF District Special Tax Allocation Fund and authorizing payment of that surplus revenue to the Peoria County Treasurer for distribution to affected taxing districts on a pro rata basis for tax year 2024 payable 2025.
I have a motion by Sidak. Ordinance will be 26-01-03.
Second.
Second by Weaver. Any further discussion? Comments? Everybody knows what this is.
So the only thing I will say is every month when I talk about the financials for TIF and I say we're going to give 80% back, this is the 80% that we're going to give back. So we're like $350,000 to the good. Well, we're going to give $190,000 back to the other taxing bodies, which is part of the original TIF agreement with the other taxing bodies.
And of that, we get 21,000 back to us. So, because we're part of that taxing body. So really, we're only giving away 170 some thousand.
That's correct.
But we have to state it this way for the documentation.
Yeah,
going back to
the TIF district views us as views the village as a taxing body.
Correct. So, more comments, questions? We'll roll call it. Hope.
Yep.
Weaver.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Sidak.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I would also like to communicate that Mr. Frexell and I stopped by Black Sheep, like we said we were going to. Talked with the owner about getting a similar deal to the one that we just made for Coffee Can 2. Sort of explained to the owner all the programs that we had that the owner had no idea about, the redevelopment programs and things like that. And I don't know if the owner...
They did call. We've sent them an application.
Victoria did.
Yep. The only caution I would give is the numbers could be different based upon what their sales are, what their taxes are, and that kind of stuff. But the principle or the guiding principle of doing something for them would be similar. It's just the dollar amounts might be different based upon, when they fill out the application, what that looks like.
Yeah, I made it abundantly clear that even though Coffee Can has certain numbers, they were probably not going to get anywhere close to that because we're just looking at the BDD, whereas Coffee Can, since they're owners and managers of the property, that they get TIF and BDD, whereas the owner of Black Sheep does not actually own the property.
And then the other thing is the BDD money will be based upon what they project their revenues to be. So,
yeah. Just so the board knows, that's in the pipeline as well. End of report.
I went to their open house on Saturday. It was very full of people.
Yes.
Was it?
We were going to stop by and it was a lot of people. So we were like, we'll just go this way.
We went at like 11:30 or noon, somewhere around there. And it was packed.
We were going to stop by at like 10 before we head out of town.
So do they have a following? Is that what it is? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And the owner's actually getting us another location at OSF. Which is exciting.
Yeah, the guy that ran all the coffee and a lot of concessionaires in OSF, he had a monopoly pretty much on it. He passed away. The family didn't want anything to do with it anymore. So They have then since opened that up, and she is going to be opening up a distribution or opening up a site in the Jump Learning Center area. Of course, that's where everybody goes and does all the training and everything. So why not have coffee where you're going to be doing training and stuff? And then I guess she's working with somebody to do treats or snacks and things like that too. So
Great.
So, and that's something we talked to her about, possibly doing a different, more snacks in this location. She says it'll just depend on what the demand is and what's going on. So,
Sell away, sell away.
so.
Incident report.
Yeah, incident reports are about 26 for the month of December. I did not have these printed out. I apologize.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Did we get a new report since the last one?
Did we publish this one in
The last meeting.
December?
We
Okay.
decided there were 31.
I don't think we got a new one. My plan is now every time I get the published report off, my plan is to just put it in the packet moving forward. So.
This meeting was 12.
I did not put the dates. I just put there were 31 incidents. So we will just say in December.
On January 14th, about 6:42, there was an accident. 1200 Farmington Road, around the hog trough. Lawyer's office. This other one was sent the day of our meeting, so I think that's one we already had. So next meeting is February 9th. I must remind everybody that February calendar.
It's a great month. Lincoln, Washington, Baylor, all born in that month. Side
Yeah. February 2nd is what day?
Groundhog.
Groundhog's Day. Please pass a word for people to come out to Village Ham City and come out to Wildlife Prairie Park, or I will give the prediction from Gertie again this year. So,
Cool. I hope it bites you.
Gertie never bites me. And there is a copy of the proclamation. We've had it up here for a while. If anybody wants to take a look at it, then we'll get with Peoria County and the flag and everything that they did for part of the anniversary back in June. That's the type of proclamations we want to get made up for Jim and Al have made. So I got to ask Cassandra to find me some stock like that.
I think that was him asking.
She knows. Anything else come for the board? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, Shauna.